You can probably tell from this photo and this photo that I've just about finished my summer cut. And actually that's what this video is going to be about, because a lot of you who are stressing about cutting for summer shouldn't actually be on a cut at all. So let's talk about this. Okay, first of all, why did I go on a cut? Well, the reason why I do it is for my coaching, for my business, for social media. Essentially, this is going to sound bad, but if I don't look great, people aren't going to think that I can coach them. And so I need to look above average for people to actually want to be coached by me. Now, before I cut for summer, I was about 81.5 kg. I was looking pretty fluffy. However, I got to that weight because it was helping me be really strong, which I focus on powerlifting, so it's very important to me. Like I said, I needed to cut for summer, I needed to get leaner, and so now I'm 73.5 kg. I've lost all that body fat. I'm probably leaner right now than you should get, because as I said, this is for my business. And so for stuff like YouTube thumbnails and posts on Instagram, me looking very lean is good for that. And so what I'm gonna do is, complete transparency, I'm gonna stock up on photos from while I'm lean for a couple of weeks and then rinse those throughout the whole year for thumbnails and stuff like that. It's not fake because it's my actual transformation. However, it makes complete sense for me. But for the average person who doesn't have a business requirement to do this, it's not worth doing. Because if you're sitting at about, let's say 15% body fat year round, you're looking at people who are 8% body fat on social media and you're thinking, I need to look like them for summer because that's the standard. That's not the standard. Those people have way above average genetics, probably better than yours. They are probably on gear, and if they're not on gear, they're doing it for social media, and so for them it's still worth it. But I promise you, when you go to these places over the summer and you're looking shredded in front of all the people by the pool, no one actually cares. No one's looking at you thinking, wow, he looks so sick. Like, no one's even looking at you. And I actually had this realization today because I was doing some posing and I was like, yeah, it's great being leaner. Like, I like it, but I'm weaker. I've gone through like a couple months of like being pretty hungry a lot of the time. Is it worth it? I don't know. Well, actually I do know. For me, it definitely was worth it. And the fact that I've been able to lose 8 kg and still maintain all my muscle mass just shows that I had a lot of fluff to lose. And what I often find is that a lot of people aren't actually lean enough to go on a cut. And so you get many guys that have a small frame that go on a cut because they want to look bigger and shredded, but all they do is just end up looking skinny. You might think you have to lose fat, but really you actually need to build more muscle first, because ultimately being in a surplus is when you're going to build the most muscle. And if you've never actually been on a proper bulk, you're probably not even ready to cut. Like I said, the calorie surplus is when you're going to grow the most. So especially if you've been training under 2 years, you definitely shouldn't go on a cut unless you obviously need to. Like if you're like 40% body fat, yeah, go on a cut. In that case, your whole time in the gym should be spent cutting, really. But if you haven't given yourself that proper time to grow, cutting now for summer could actually stunt your long-term progress, and it's going to take a lot longer to get to your goals. It's also very common for people just to repeat the same cycle every year. They bulk in winter, then go on a panic cut in spring and don't actually make any progress year to year, because what they'll do is they'll starve themselves during spring, which will mean they lose all that muscle they've built up during the bulk, and they've probably got too fat during the bulk anyway, and so they just go on that endless cycle every year and look the same. We all have that one person who's been at the gym for 5-6 years and looks the same as he's always done. These people are always chasing a certain look but never actually building it. And I can't stress this enough, if you do decide to go on a cut is not just eating less. That's a very common thing that I hear. People will say that, yeah, oh, I'm just watching what I eat. Unfortunately, that's not gonna get you the results you're after. You need structure. So you should be tracking your calories, hitting your protein, and managing training intensity and recovery accordingly. If you're not doing it properly, you'll lose more strength than fat. And so for me, for example, on this cut, I've made sure, at least on every exercise, I'm doing a weight that I could do on the bulk. If it's for less reps, that's fine. So for example, today, I had dumbbell press. I had flat dumbbell press. On the bulk, I could do the 45 kg dumbbells for 8 reps, I think it was. Now I can do 5. However, the fact that I'm pushing that weight and still attempting to push that weight and show my muscles that I need to still have that muscle to move that weight means that I'm keeping the muscle. And so throughout this whole cut, I've still pushed myself like I was on a bulk. I've just managed recovery and intensity a lot better. And so I'll have that one set at the start, but maybe I do less because I can't accumulate so much volume. So even more so than a bulk, you really need to focus on your strength during your cut. Keep hitting those weights that you were when you're bulking. So if you're hearing what I've said and you're thinking, yeah, okay, he's probably right, the cut isn't actually for me, what should you actually do? If you're still early into your lifting career, I'd consider a lean bulk. And by lean bulk, that is a bulk. It just means that you actually watch what you're eating. And so you don't go in a massive surplus. You just eat enough of a surplus to build that muscle. You should focus on high protein meals. meals, quality training, and consistent sleep. You'll still look great by doing this, but then by going on a proper lean bulk for an extended period of time, you'll give yourself the chance to then eventually go on that proper summer cut in the future. Like I said, unless you've had that proper gaining phase and you've given yourself that chance to build muscle, let's say a minimum 6 or 7 month bulk, then you really shouldn't be cutting for summer, because ultimately you're just in that never-ending cycle where you're never actually putting on any muscle. And then the muscle you do put on, you lose when you cut. But when does cutting actually make sense? Well, like I said, if you spent 6 or 7 months in a proper surplus, then you can go on a cut. Just please do not rush it, and don't just do it out of insecurity. So if you're getting just a little bit fluffy, keep pushing. As long as you're not getting fat, then you don't need to go on a cut. So as a recap, if you're cutting just to impress people for summer and you haven't actually built the physique first, you're probably wasting your time. And like I said, no one actually cares anyway. So if you need help either going on a proper lean bulk or a cut, I offer online coaching. There's a link below for that. Or if you'd just like some free help, there's also a link for that as well. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.